Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Rixie. My guest today is an award winning actor, director, writer, and producer from Ogden, Utah. He's been making films since he was 15. He has a bachelor's degree in film from the University of Central Florida and is the founding member of the New Ogden Cinema Group. He has brought into life films like Frankencock, Three Sith and a Baby, Convicts and Chocolate, and Married and Loving It. He's currently in production on his latest film, Left for Dead. Everyone, Ryan McDonald. Ryan, man, thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk with me tonight. I know you're busy and crazy in production right now, but I'm excited to talk to you and get a little more in depth on some of these films that you've worked on and the one you're currently on.
Yeah, no, appreciate having me, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, like I said, I'm totally excited. But the first thing I want to know is what brought young Ryan into the film industry. Why film as the medium? Why did you choose that for your creative outlet?
Oh wow, I think there was we mentioned in the intro, very lovely intro, by the way. I'm very humbled by that.
Thank you.
Even I'm going like, did I?
Can I do that?
And yeah, there was a moment in time where I went to school. Like by the ninth grade, they start asking you questions in what's the junior high. So it's like 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and the idea is that by ninth grade, you're gonna have to sit down with a counselor. You're gonna have your parents with you. They're gonna ask you the question, "What do you want to do in life?" And based upon your answer, they're going to start guiding, like, okay, well, then you should take this course and this course and this course through high school. And that can kind of like tee you up for college and things like that. And I remember not wanting to be a person who just had no idea what I wanted to do. And there are many times where I was writing screenplays or stories, or when I think back, I was doing a lot of creative things as a kid that was always a story building thing or in acting out. Like I would write a play, not like a long one, but like a 5-minute one, and try to act it out in front of one of my parents. But I didn't see it as like something that I was really going to do long term. Then that kind of came to the idea that, well, what do you want to do for like when you grow up? And I thought, well, I was a massive James Bond fan. Like I thought for sure I wanted to be a spy. I was
okay. So Connery or Roger Moore? Who was your James Bond?
Well, I remember seeing Timothy Dalton movies.
Okay, so Timothy Dalton. All right.
And then I remember the James Bond Jr. cartoon series. But it was when Pierce Brosnan came out with GoldenEye, and I was like, that's what I want to do. But then the other problem is that like I'm always like the first or second person out in dodgeball, and if I can't dodge balls, I can't dodge the bullets. So I was like, well, I don't know if I should. I don't want to die. I don't want to like be a spy in that sense, and I don't want to like I wanted to be a cop because of Dick Tracy, and I wanted to be a lawyer because of like regarding Henry. But then after, there's a point in that movie he realizes that he was kind of an asshole before his accident and things, and it just kind of dawned on me in that sitting there thinking about this, like what I really love is actually movies, and that's what I want to do. And once it clicked, I just never really second guessed it because it felt so like true to who I was and the things that I was interested in. Because I was always, watching movies, or like I go to the video store back when those were around, and they'd have like the big. Remember back in the day before there's IMDb, they have those like movie encyclopedias, and like the movie Metro came out with Eddie Murphy, and I would go to the video store and I just crack that thing open, go to Eddie Murphy, and it was just like it gave a list of all the movies he's in, and then you just like landing yourself in like what's the one, like the Golden Boy, the Golden Year, or something like that. And then, you start going down, obviously the Beverly Hills Cop films. So it's just, I didn't realize how much I was into movies until it suddenly clicked. That's what I want to do. So long answer, but that's the answer.
No, that's a wonderful answer. Do you remember that first play you wrote?
Well, there was a time when the animated film Beauty and the Beast came out, and the kids that I had a babysitter, and the kids I was being babysat with, we had all decided to reenact Beauty and the Beast is we didn't actually get to the point where we did it in front of the parents, but there's a moment that we were rehearsing and dreaming of the idea. You couldn't pull up the songs, you couldn't like really pull up the scripts. It was all based on memory and just having seen the movie once or twice in theaters. There was a moment where I was in the 5th or 6th grade. My mom had introduced me to Psycho. And I was
nice.
I loved it so much that I dressed up as the mother for Halloween.
Nice.
And I'm in the 6th grade, so I'm like knocking on doors, but I'm wearing like a bathrobe and like a gray wig, and it wasn't something that was like super recognizable. But it was also the only movie, because the other Psychos are rated R, and so it was the only movie that I could rent that was like touching that surface, but not rated R, because my mom wouldn't let me watch rated R movies. This is back when like grocery stores had VHS tapes. They had like a VHS like store, a video store inside of them. So it was like Tuesday, it was like rent one, get one. So I would always rent like a James Bond movie, and then I couldn't figure out what else to rent, so I just rent Psycho. And so there was a moment there where I thought for sure I was going to write Psycho 5. I think I started writing Psycho 5, and I thought, I'm going to sell this. I'm in the 6th grade, by the way. Like,
heck yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be like Norman Bates' son grows up and yada, 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 and I'm going to sell it to Universal. But I still did not thinking at the time I'm a writer. I'm not thinking like I'm a filmmaker. I'm just thinking that I'm just like following this passion, but without really identifying what that means.
Yeah, well, you knew you loved stories, and so I got to know who were you in Beauty and the Beast? Who did you play?
Oh, I think I was going to be
you the Beast?
Yeah,
the
Beast.
Yeah, that was that's who I'd want to be. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the candlestick, but although he was a lot of fun. Martin Short in that role in the animated series. I think that was Martin Short, was it not? In the animated series, but he was phenomenal in that role. Love that film. So you're find the passion, and then you start making films. You figure out that you want to make films, and I think now, Married and Loving It, that was your first feature film, is that right?
Yeah.
First feature film. And what I thought was just fascinating. So you shot all that on an iPhone 6, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? What constraints did that put on the project? And then
So when we shot it on the iPhone 6, we technically shot in 2018, even though we didn't finish the movie till like release it until 2020. But
so that was a fairly advanced phone then. I mean, it wasn't probably the cutting edge, but it was still a pretty good phone at the time.
Yeah, there was a sense of so like the progression from where I saw it was like when I first started out making short films is we had like VHS tapes that were like they were like SVHS, I believe it's called. It fits in like a VHS adapter, and that's how you get it. You have to edit off of a VCR system. So I've gone from there to like the mini like tapes, and then we get to the DSLR stage by the time I'm in college. And then at some point, it's just kind of like, well, one day your phone is going to be so good that it can take a photo that's just as good as any camera can do. I remember professors telling me, and we're kind of getting to a point, this is like 2013, 14, and I started telling my crew that I work with, I was like, I think, what if we made a movie on a phone? So we did a couple of short films that we made just on the iPhone 6. And then I just thought, well, there's kind of a niche market at the time for movies made on a phone. This is, again, 2018. So like there's really like Tangerine, that's out, that's like the big hit that was made on a phone by Sean Baker.
Okay.
And there's only a couple handfuls. Like we're not even touching the idea yet in time where like Zack Snyder makes a commercial on an iPhone, or Danny Boyle makes 28
did not realize
years later that. So that's kind of the passion.
You said Tangerine. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's one I've not seen, so I want to see that one now.
No, yeah, and it's, and so there's limitations. It all depends on how much glass you put in front of the lens. You can have the iPhone's your body. We just had like one lens on there, just kind of anamorphic. But if you really want to get to where's Danny Boyle style, you add about 8 feet of glass. that kind of gives it that more of a depth-filled cinematic look. And at that point, almost like you might as well just shot it on just get a DSLR or whatever. But one of the cool things is the phone fits everywhere. Like you don't have to move, because we shot in a real house, and so when you're in a spot where it's like you're in tight bend, you can always take the phone off of whatever's on, and you can back all the way up to the wall and shoot. It's so it's availability like that is really cool.
Well, I could see. I mean, you don't have a giant rig to try to fit in the corner of a small room.
Yeah.
But I imagine there are some limitations. I mean, I imagine there's still some zoom, some rigs you can hook it up to and do a few things. But that really got me thinking about constraints. I imagine there were a few, and I've got to believe. I mean, did the constraints? I mean, did that affect the creative process? Do you think that improved it? Did it cause you to focus more elsewhere, where we were less focused on the different camera shots that you could get?
Yeah, I mean, it was what I learned later, and I wish I would have known ahead of time, but I had close-up shots that I wanted in the movie, and without the right lens attached to the camera, you're just not going to get that close-up shot. There were moments where like you're running this phone, and you're basically beating it to death all day long, so it overheats really quickly.
Oh, okay.
So there are some moments where I mean, I notice it, but the film's a little glitchy. It's because the camera overheated, but we didn't have the money or the time to really go back and reshoot.
Yeah.
Because the movie is because it's streaming on like Amazon Prime. I kind of just assume that the audience will think that it's their Wi-Fi that's glitching out.
Yeah, perfect.
That like that part in Man on the Moon, with Jim Carrey, where like Andy Kaufman is like he's laughing because people think that the static in the TV is because of bad reception, but it turns out he purposely put it there, kind of a thing.
Nice, yeah.
So those are some things like like if you had two phones, then when one of them overheats, you could switch to another phone. When one of them runs out of memory, like you can, because like on a camera, on a DSLR camera, like you can swap a memory card, but on the phone, like it's all internal storage. You have to wait for it to dump the footage into a laptop. So you're kind of in a necessary break, but it's an unfortunate necessary when it happens.
Yeah. When it's full and you've got to offload, you're done, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like, take 5. Hope the sun doesn't go down if you're shooting outside or whatever.
Yeah.
So would you do that again?
Possibly. Yeah. So a few of the things, like you mentioned, 3 Sith and a Baby, and I shot that with a phone, with an iPhone 11. And then I've done, so we can get into kind of like my relationship with BJ Wimpy, who plays Palpatine. He's also in Left 4 Dead, but we've done now 3 Palpatine themed short films, and each of them I shot with an iPhone 11.
Nice.
And then my daughter's also a filmmaker, and when helping her, we just use the same iPhone 11. So like doing it again, I mean, I have.
You are doing it.
Yeah, I am.
You are doing it.
For the newest feature that I chose not to go with the phone. But maybe I'll revisit it. Like it's not. I think it's a tool. And I'm excited to see where it goes. But I can't say that it's always going to be the tool I'll use. So.
Yeah, I think to me, I feel like it's inspiring for filmmakers or people who want to be filmmakers. It's like, well, if they can make this, surely I can be brave enough to get out there and try and do it. I mean, and it lowers the entry point for people to make content now. How good it is really up to the person behind it. It really isn't the equipment at that point. Because I mean, I did not realize 3 Sith and a Baby. I did not realize you did that on the iPhone. That's a great film. I enjoyed. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. And BJ Wimpy, is that right? Am I saying that right? Yeah. So I love his Palpatine and fun. Now, did you write that or did he? I mean, who wrote that?
He approached me about that. BJ and I actually went to the same high school. He's a year just behind me, but we didn't know each other at the time. I'd heard about him, and because again, kind of my origin story is before I even got to high school, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I'm making these like short films in high school, and people are like, "You need to meet this guy, BJ. He's an actor, and he wants to be an actor." Years go by. And I, through like working on the Perry's Egyptian Theater Board, which is in Ogden, Utah, I meet Danielle Bentinelli, and we connect through the board. And then the pandemic hits, and I don't hear from Danielle for a minute. And next thing I know, she's always hanging out with this guy BJ, and as it turns out, they're dating now. And so then we when
it's fate.
Yeah, so when things open up again, where we could like meet for a coffee and kind of safely get back together, we meet, and so BJ and I kind of just connected. And there's always that moment when you're meeting a person who's an actor and you're a filmmaker, where there's kind of like, we should work on something together, and that means sometimes like we should do lunch, and sometimes that means like serious. And it just how happens that they had someone who could film 3 Sith and the Baby, but had to drop out at the like 48 hours within when they were going to shoot it. Wow. Danielle suggested me, and they called me and said, "Hey, can you come shoot this thing?" And we're really just doing a shot-for-shot remake of the 3 Men and a Baby trailer. So we're shooting exactly what we need at any point. I mean, I think there's like 96 shots. We did that in one day on a phone.
Holy cow, that's a lot of shots to sneak in one day.
Yeah, and you have like a dog, and you have a baby. You have all the other nightmares that could potentially be in there. Plus, like those guys, so BJ has to be in makeup ahead of time. The guy who's playing Darth Maul, his name's Sean Gordon. He does the makeup for BJ's Palpatine, and he has to be in makeup as well. You have Vader there. You have 3 stormtroopers, all in full costume. They did that heavy lifting. I just shot it. So
that's a marathon to be in costume like that all day. I mean, I'm a cosplayer, and I know. I mean, the stormtrooper armor isn't as bad as this. I don't know if you can see this guy over here behind me. That's probably the worst. The Jawa is, 2 hours tops. I mean, when my boots start filling with water, it's time to take it off. But so for them, for a day, and I love his Palpatine. His Palpatine looks great. He's not wearing a mask, so he's got prosthetics on. So I love his Palpatine. At least that's what it looks like to me.
It is it's a face. It glues from here and comes all the way down.
Oh, does it?
But it's been but Sean Gordon, who again plays Darth Maul in that short, he did he's done the molding and the prosthetics and the carving and however you do it, where you like mold it through clay, I guess, and then transfer it into a negative and yada yada yada. So it is that. So
fit his face perfectly, because that's I mean, those are his lips and everything when he's talking and moving. Yeah. I mean, that's a great, but fun film. I enjoyed it. I mean, and I remember 3 Men and a Baby, watching that as a youngster, and such a great show. And just listened to an interview with Steve Guttenberg the other day.
Cool.
Such a great actor, but good show. Love that. I encourage everyone to go out there and watch 3 Sith and a Baby. And what were the other?
Oh, sorry.
There's 2 others, right?
So hold on, my echo is like going off. I don't know why it's going off. Hold on a second.
No worries.
Out of nowhere, it started doing Superman trivia with the new James Gunn movie. Sorry.
Nice.
Sorry. Come back to your question. I apologize. I missed it.
No. So what were the other films based on that series, the 3 Sith and a Baby? You said there were a couple others.
Yeah. So we did. So then, when the Mario Brothers movie came out, and Jack Black had done like a Peaches music video, we did one again, shot for shot. That's like a Luke Skywalker. Instead of Peaches, like kind of like Palpatine, like begging Luke Skywalker to become part of like their dark side of things. Okay. And we shot it just the way the shot for shot the way it is in Jack Black's music video. I mean, and then this last Christmas, BJ came up with an idea to do Palpatine with lightning fingers, set to the tune of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And And again, I got invited to come along and I shot it with an iPhone, and we did it in one day, just like we did the other stuff, and then I cut it together. But yeah, it came out. I mean, they're funny, in my opinion.
You're doing a lot with the iPhone, then. I mean, a lot of filmmaking.
Yeah. Still shooting it just with an iPhone on those ones. So yeah, each of those is the same iPhone 11. And then my last year, same group, Neil Bendinelli, BJ Wimpy, my wife and producing partner Brandy Lee McDonald. We made a parody film called Convicts and Chocolates.
Okay.
Parody between.
I watched that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a parody between Con Air and Forrest Gump. There was a few shots. The actual airplane, that's the exterior of the airplane from Con Air, is in Wendover, Utah, which is about an hour. Well, sorry, it's about 2 hours away from where we're at in Utah. And we had the ability to actually shoot on that airplane. So it still says on the side.
So that's the actual plane from the set.
When they're doing all the exterior shots, when they're like trying to haul the plane across the desert and stuff. Yeah, that's that same airplane. And
no way, that is so cool.
We shot everything on the plane. We shot in one day. Later that night, we get back to the hotel room, and we start going over things, and we realize, like, oh my god, we missed this. And our DP, he's already gone back to Salt Lake, which is like a good hour and a half away. He doesn't have, the plan isn't to be here again tomorrow. So there's a couple of shots that are in the film that are also with the iPhone, and he shot it with a DSLR camera, and I shot stuff with an iPhone and just blended it in. So
yeah, what a fun film. Now, did you write that one, or who wrote that one?
Brandy did. My wife Brandy, yeah, she wrote that.
Nice.
BJ, Danielle, Brandy and I met many times over coffee about what we wanted to do with there. So there's a brand new film festival that is now on its second year. It's going to be this August 15th and 16th. It's going to be in Helper, Utah. But this film festival is in celebration of 100 years of filmmaking in Utah. And to celebrate that, if you signed up, they would give you like one of two films. They give you two films, pick one, kind of emulate it, and then you kind of have like a 48-hour film. You have to have like an element or a dialogue or something like that. It has to be in there. But you don't have 48 hours. You have like 3 weeks. And so we were given Con Air or Forrest Gump. My father-in-law, Brandy's dad, he was a stuntman in Hollywood, and so he actually worked on Con Air when it was here when they were filming it in Wendover, Utah. So it felt fitting to just go like, well, it's gonna be Con Air. But then when we met with BJ and Danielle, they had been thinking Forrest Gump. And then at some point, BJ said a line from Con Air, but he said it in a Forrest Gump voice. And that was where it was like, whoa, we should hero swap this.
That's where it was born.
Yeah, we should put Forrest Gump in Con Air. And then we'll go from there.
Chocolate, my peanut butter.
Yeah.
No, you got peanut butter in my chocolate.
Yeah, it was. And so we brainstormed a lot of different ideas and things that we could do. And then Brandy took some time alone, and about a week or two later, she pumped out a script that she felt was really close to the way that she would make it, and had that like Hot Shots, Naked Gun kind of a feel to it.
Yeah, totally.
And comedy is like her passion, and I like comedy too. I do it in different ways, as we saw through it, the horror films that I made. But it came out.
What would you say is key to a good parody? I mean, what's key to a good parody?
Wow. So the newest Naked Gun movie is coming out here in a couple of days, or even tomorrow, actually. From the time of this recording. But like, yeah, Liam Neeson. I saw an interview where he was like, I didn't play it as a comedy. I played it straight, like just as serious as he could be, like almost like he's playing Taken, but as serious. And I think that the more that the actor is being as serious as they can, but depending on what you give them to say or do, that's where the comedy part is. Like we've all seen like I don't know if we all have, but like if you've ever seen a bad dub from like Asia, they can take a serious movie and turn it almost like a comedy just to pay out like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. If you have, and the same thing can happen in a comedy if everybody's like being too over the top in comical sense, it's not funny. But if you have like, if you look at like Naked Gun and Leslie Nielsen, I think it's the second one, I'm not sure. Whatever one OJ, like he gets shot at the beginning of the movie, and then like Leslie Nielsen turns to comfort the wife. He's like, we're not going to stop. We're not going to rest 1 minute until we get to the bottom of this. And then he turns to his partner. He's like, all right, where do you want to get lunch? And they say it as straight as they can be. And I'm sure Charlie Sheen did the same through the Hot Shots movie. So I think it's just the people who are, if you're in the movie, you've got to be focused, like as dramatic as it can be, but the scenario is what makes it funny. That's my thing.
Yeah, the Naked Guns are great. And I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, it definitely brings back memories as a kid watching the old Naked Gun films and the airplane. The airplane are the ones that I'm really remembering good, and those those were classics.
Yeah.
So any films you think today are ripe for the parody world? I mean, I'm sure your wife's probably thinking about a few coming up. I mean, there's got to be a good one coming up, or even a past film. It's like, oh, that needs a parody. That just screams parody.
Yeah, we've chatted about it because we had so much fun doing Comics and Chocolate, and I was like, okay, what do we need to like make fun of here? Maybe we do like a buddy cop kind of a movie, and then the other day we were shooting our first day for Left 4 Dead, and then it came up the joke. I was like, what if we do like what Dimension, like Miramax did, or Dimension Films or whatever? We make the serious movie, Scream, and then we turn around and make the parody movie called Scary Movie. Something like,
okay,
like before they make fun of us, let's just make fun of ourselves or something and just jump right in. But
okay, that's a great idea.
I don't know how for real that is, but
we'll
see.
We'll see. Okay, well maybe she's working on that script secretly, and it'll just show up, and you'll be like, okay, we're filming this now. So before we get for Left 4 Dead, I got to stop at Frankendoc. Okay. I mean, holy cow! Now you did write that one, right?
I did, yeah.
You did. Yeah. So where did that idea come from, and how in the hell did you keep a straight face fighting a giant penis?
So we have so the filmmaking group that I along with my one of my best friends, Jason White, we created is New Ogden Cinema, and through that moniker we've done a series that we call the Ancient Evil horror film series. There's not really like a 1, 2, or 3. We kind of skipped around, having fun with the idea that it'd be like 1 and then like 10, the final reckoning, and then you do like a part 20. And you kind of just go around all the time like that. I think at one point we were up to like part 47, but we were only doing actually our third short. And so a long time ago, in a frustration with Tim Burton's like Disney period that he's had for a while, he finally broke it with Beetlejuice. But in just kind of like time period where he's just kind of like it doesn't feel the way it used to feel back in the 90s with his movies. And he's in this like what I think is a rut through like the Alice in Wonderlands and the Charlie and Chocolate Factory and the like Dumbo series. Well, he had a movie called Frankenweenie, which was like a short film that he had made, but he redid it. Now, I hadn't seen Frankenweenie. I will say I did watch it about 4 months ago, and I actually really liked it a lot. But at the time that it came out when it was coming out to theaters, it kind of rudely said something. I was like, well, now he's got this movie Frankencock, and yada, yada, yada. And as soon as I said it, I was like, whoa. I was like, there should be a movie where the monster's actually his penis, and it gets cut off, and it turns into a monster, and yada, yada. And I sat on that for like years. And then there was a film festival that was happening in Utah. Once again, like it's a film festival where like if you sign up, you're basically in. You have more than 48 hours. You have like 4 weeks. You are given like a few elements that you need to add. This one was going to be, the theme was going to be in 3D. And I was like, we can do a 3D film. I was like, I'm going to jam a dick in front of everybody's face. And it was my boldest swing. Like, and I spoke with So Sean Gordon, who I've mentioned a couple times, like he's Darth Maul now, and he does he also does the Senator Palpatine makeup. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, like, here's the idea. What do you think? Can we do this in 2 weeks? So he built the puppet.
Okay, I was going to ask who's responsible for the big penis.
Yeah, so I met him like 2 days later. We had coffee. He had sketches, and it was like, it was all of what I said stitched together, one eyeball, kind of at the top, maybe some claws for teeth, and just time constraint. We didn't quite get the claws down right, but that's fine because it looks great.
Yeah, no.
And so he built 2 puppets that we could use, and we shot it. Ooh, it's been, oddly enough, like, I thought when I was making Married and Loving It that I thought I was making something that was like deeply personal, and it was going to go like a million miles, and it's like, and it did. It traveled well, and we won a lot of awards, but not in the same way that like the Dick Puppet movie did. Like the Dick Puppet movie, I won Best Director. I won Best Editing. like things that I was like shooting for with the feature film. I suddenly won with this Pecker movie. And so so it kind of goes.
And you're the guy that made the Pecker movie.
Yeah, well, but like it kind of goes to show, like, there's a few directors. I was listening to a podcast earlier where James Cameron said it. Sometimes you make the movie for yourself, and we've heard that through like the director of Dune and some other things where it's like, hey, I made the movie for me first, and I feel like Frankencock was 100%. I made it for me, and I wasn't thinking about anybody else, and yet I had the most success with it. And so lesson learned there is like, make it for yourself, 100%.
100%. So is horror comedy your jam? I mean, is that like where you're in the zone at?
I like it a lot. So what we're making now is not in that same vein. But what I do like about the horror comedy is that I can, none of the characters have like real good morals to them. Everybody's kind of a sleaze bag. Even the detective that I play is a big sleaze bag. And when you do that, like, you can annihilate anybody. Like, nobody's gonna blink when you kill these characters because they're just assholes.
Yeah, it's like,
and then once you kind of like cross that line into like, it's funny to kill kids in the movie or something, I don't know. Like, that's the part that's like, sometimes it's funny to me, maybe not funny to others. But again, we were winning awards. How do I say no to doing that? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed. I mean, the 12-year-old in me when the puppet came up. I tell my wife I'll forever be 12. I'm sorry, honey. I mean, you married it. It's your problem. So who kept the puppet?
Oh, I have it. I'm staring right at it. Yeah, he's sitting right here. I have 2 of them because we had one that when Sean did the original molding, and he's under a time constraint, so the first one didn't come out the way that he needed it to, and it has some defects in it, so he made another one. And then later, when we have a moment where it's like my character stuffs the grenade down the wiener's face, and we blow it up, we just blew up the other one that wasn't really that had all the defaults to it. But I still have both of them. Like, yeah, they're
it just sits in the corner and stares at you.
Yeah, it's right there. I can't reach it from where I'd have to get up, but it's in the room.
I want people to go. I want people to go and watch it. They're going to have to go and watch it.
Yeah.
Now, did I hear you right? Is Married and Loving, is that streaming on Prime?
It is on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
It is on Prime. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
I went out looking for it and I missed that. So real quickly, what is the film about? Tell us what it's about.
Yeah. So there was a time in my life. So I'm on my second marriage right now, and there was a time in my life through my first one. Life's been very different. I have a very different partner, and at the time, I was just desperate to make a feature film. I was so afraid that I was going to die before I make a feature film, and that on my deathbed there'd be like the ghost of me who's like, why didn't you do it? And what happened? And you find in life, there are people who can be in they're in your circle, but they're not necessarily in your corner. And so it's easy to, there's a lot of actors I didn't finish my sentence, but there's a lot of actors who like also I've met who were married to somebody else and then they divorced them and then they somehow like blossom even further.
Mm.
We unfortunately meet people in our lives who are, I don't want to say anything bad about my ex-wife, but good people, but just not necessarily right for what we're trying to accomplish. Some of us are astronauts, we gaze at the star, or some of us are astronomers, we like to gaze at the stars. Some of us are astronauts, we have to go to the stars.
Like that.
I was looking for a way to write a movie that was like something that I knew, and I knew what it was like to be married for 10 years. I didn't realize when I wrote it, I was in the marriage. I didn't realize like how many toxic traits that maybe I brought to the marriage. So that was kind of, I was like, plus budgetary wise, I'm thinking, okay, well, you set it in one house, you set it with like a minimal amount of characters, and that will keep the budget down if you do it like that. And then try to speak like really personable, and it's a blend of like a marriage that I was in and then also a couple of marriages that I witnessed at the same time. So there's little pieces. There are moments where it's kind of like that happened verbatim. There's also moments where like that's fiction. She never said that. It was actually her who said that. I just added it to that character.
Gotcha.
That's pretty much what the movie is in a sense about. It's about a relationship that's the people who are in it think that everything is fine, but in reality, nothing's fine in that one. When I wrote it, the original draft was a drama, and but then I went through my divorce and I went through my new relationship, and I added a lot of comedy to it, though dark. But I think that's the influence of the person that I'm with now. So my current wife is Brandy, who we talked about, who's a writer director of Convicts and Chocolate, and she likes comedy. So I think just that influence just kind of helped kind of like shape a little bit more. But it's still a dark comedy.
Dark comedy. Okay. All right. I'm going to get out there and check that one out. I was thinking it was still touring film festivals, so I was like looking forward online anywhere to see if it was streaming anywhere, but I know that it's on Amazon now. So Amazon Prime, Married and Loving It.
Yep. Yeah.
Married and Loving It. And so Left for Dead. I mean, and that's you're in production right now, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm following you on Facebook and Instagram and seeing the location scouting. Holy cow. I mean, beautiful places in Utah to film. I mean, what a lovely state to live in for filming. What tell us what is Left for Dead about?
Yeah, Left for Dead, and I really need to memorize the log line on this so I can sell it better. I just haven't gotten there yet. But Left for Dead is essentially a film about it's a world that we don't live in right now, but it could be our future or our past. But it's about a man who's trying to survive in that world where there are no laws and there's no society, and you're trying to do everything you can by any means to survive. But then one day you find yourself being tracked and hunted by another individual, and they're on your ass, and they're basically not going to let go. It's like a chase film. It's kind of like the inspiration comes from like the last half of Apocalypto, or like the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, where they're being basically hunted by the LaForge, the new sheriff, and the posse that's like chasing those guys for like 20 minutes. But now I was thinking, like, what if I expanded that into a full feature? And we went across the landscapes of Utah, and I thought, so in Married and Loving It, was like, okay, we'll keep everybody confined to a house and give everybody like long monologues, and they'll be happy. But then I'll keep the budget down. In this one, it's kind of like, well, what if we just let the landscape do all the talking as far as the budget goes? So like, we actually leave next week. BJ, Sean, our DP, Brad Kendrick, and myself leave on Sunday to head to Kanab, Utah, where a lot of Western films were shot in Utah. We'll also be hitting up Monument Valley, which is a significant place for Utah as well in filmmaking. The same spot where like Forrest Gump even says like, I think I'm tired. I'm going to go home now after his like year-long jog.
I'm tired. Think I'll go home now.
Yeah. And we want to shoot in these like locations that look like, $1 billion, but we're going to shoot it on a shoestring budget. and just have him as a backdrop. And I don't know why I've been obsessed with Once Upon a Time in the West by Sergio Leone lately. And there's a scene this at the end of the movie. There's this brick arch, and the young Charles Bronson character is standing underneath his brother, who's got a noose on his neck that's attached to this arch, and it's shot in Monument Valley. Of the whole movie, is maybe only one of two scenes that are shot in Utah, because the rest of it was shot in Spain, or Italy, I mean. But the structure, minus the actual arch part, but the two structure pillars is still there, and the cement where they laid so they could put the dolly track is still there. And I was just there. I went on a scouting location a week ago with my wife, Brandy, and we went to that spot. And I want to take the crew there and shoot a scene in that same spot that they shot, Once Upon a Time in the West, like back in 1968.
Oh, so you're going to have to make the commentary for the film, and that's going to need to be on the commentary.
Yeah,
it's going to need to be on. That's the whole reason. I mean, I buy DVDs and Blu-rays because I want the commentary.
The commentary, yeah.
I want the commentaries. I'm not. I've parsed down my streaming services. Like, screw it. I'm going to go out and find it on Blu-ray and DVD because of stuff like that. The detail that you put in, to the film to make it special, and someone might catch it, but I know I wouldn't, but I like to know it, and that's why I love commentary. So you definitely have to do that.
Yeah.
So speaking of social media, I saw your fundraising videos on there. The pepper challenge was one that I loved on that one. It was great. If you had no budget for a day, like budget wasn't a concern, what would you do on that day? What would you use a no limit budget on that day?
Wow.
Taking the constraints off, sometimes that's harder, right?
Yeah. Gosh, what would we do? I
if
can
you
tell
had
you
a day where you could spend any amount of money, what would you do?
I can tell you right now,
but only one day.
We have a moment in the movie where a car explodes because a grenade is in it.
Okay.
And I really hope we can pull it off, and somehow we're going to do it with miniatures, and I don't know. I wanted it to be similar to the Terminator movie, the first one, where Linda Hamilton and what's his name, Michael Biehn, they've basically been throwing the pipe bombs, and like the semi truck explodes, and there's a kind of a breathing moment with Linda Hamilton where she's like, almost like we did it, and then out of the rubble,
we got him.
Like the exoskeleton like crawls out of the rubble, and she's like, oh shit, like more. And I want a shot that's something similar. So I play the guy who's hunting BJ, and there would be no real rhyme or reason why I would crawl out of the rubble. That's not possible. But I would like it where I'm like walking past this car that's on fire, and it's behind me, and you kind of have like that, like that Rodriguez like slow walk while there's like the fire behind you kind of thing. But on our budget, I can see how we could do the miniature of the truck exploding, but I don't see how we can do a shot where there's a big fire behind me and I'm walking towards the camera. So I'm trying to come up with a way to do that that's cheaper. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Miniatures sounds like a great way to go on that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had would you do it practical, or would you bring ILM in? I mean, how would you do it if you didn't? I mean, if we
had the money
wasn't a question.
Well, practical.
Practical.
We have the option, when you're scrolling like Facebook, and because of whatever you click on, the algorithm that comes up, like I oftentimes get this advertisement, this like a 3D package that like, and it'll be a video that shows this person walking like across a desert land, and then they like drag in like this, broken down building, the land in the background, or some kind of like fallen satellite or something like that. And it's kind of like helps build that post-apocalyptic world. And I've already told the crew, the team I'm working with, I was like, I don't want that. I don't mind if we have to do in post like a little bit of muzzle flare, stuff like that, little things, but I don't want to. If we come across a building that's completely fallen apart, and that is in our background, that's fine. But I don't want to add a digital element, because I feel like if you had ILM, you would probably do it because it would look fucking photoreal. But you do it at our level, and we're all gonna know. Even if you're not on set, you're gonna know, like, well, that's not real. And I also, most post-apocalyptic films have some kind of like, there's a shot where it's like, it's Vegas that's been falling apart. It's the Eiffel Tower that's tipped over. It's, I did a screening of one of the latest like Planet of the Apes movies, and there's this brief shot where you can tell that they're at LAX because of that little dome structure that's at the LAX airport. And I was like, I don't want to do something where we know, like, oh, this used to be LA or this used to be Paris or something like that. Like, I'm trying to avoid these like tropes that fall into indie filmmaking sometimes. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So everything we're trying to do is practical. Yeah.
I love practical.
Even down to digital blood. Like, I think like David Fincher gets away with doing really well done digital blood. But I
didn't realize that was a thing. Okay.
Well, yeah, like in the opening of what's the movie with the serial killer? Fantastic film. How do I not remember that name? Zodiac. Zodiac. Like, okay. In the opening in the movie, when there's this young couple that's shot in a car, all the blood is digitized. But he probably, they have time. Okay. They have the money, and it just looks really good. And if you don't have, but and in the John Wick movies, there's so many times where like he's shooting the gun, he's obviously not shooting a blank this close to someone's face, right? They're doing a digital edit of muzzle flash, and he's kind of mimicking it, and then they mask it with some other stuff. Time and money, but when you don't have that, it's like, I don't want to do digital blood, because how many times when I see an indie film, someone gets shot in the head, especially if it's a zombie. And we don't have any zombies in our movies, but especially if it's a zombie, and all of a sudden there's just like digital blood that like hits the background. It's like, it's those little things that kind of tear you out of, and you realize you're like, oh, I'm watching an independent film at a film festival.
Yeah.
So I might be completely wrong, but that's my thought at the moment.
No, so. I think you're on the right track. So kind of adversely, what would you say has been the most unexpectedly brilliant thing that you've done on a shoestring budget? So something that you did because of pure, like, this is the most cost effective, this is the only way we can get it done with the money we have, but it came out freaking brilliant. I mean, have you had a moment like that?
Wow. So before I did Frankencock, the short film I did before that was called Moon's Blood, and it's has starring BJ Wimpy as well, and in a loose concept, like the wolf that was a werewolf movie, and he comes out because the girl he's with is on her period. Oh, okay. And so then Sean Gordon did the Wolfman makeup, and it looks phenomenal. But there's a moment where so the Wolfman rips out the heart of one person, throws it at another guy. Then he rips the arm off the guy, and he uses the arm as a golf club and knocks the head off another person. Cow. And that was probably like $5 worth of effects. Well, not really. I mean, the arm is probably about $40 of effects, maybe, for all that. And the way I pieced it together is similar to if you look at Terminator 2, you're big into the behind the scenes stuff. So pull out your aluminum copy of Terminator 2 back when they put it on DVD, and it had like 3 different versions on it. And you had to enter in the Easter codes to find them. The moment where like they're at fucking the Skynet like building, and the T-1000 he's ridden his motorcycle up to like the 15th floor, whatever he's on, and he blasts the motorcycle through the window, catches onto the helicopter, punches out the window of the helicopter, liquefies himself and comes in, and then turns it. And if you look at the behind the scenes, like those are 12 different shots in completely different days. One of them's like on location, one of them's at the soundstage, one of them is something like, and it's just if you know your shots, you're able to create this little magic and just piece them together. And so in Moon's Blood, like there's a part where it's like, when I say like he rips out the heart, it's like the fist going through the body was like 2 days later. the golf swing of the arm crashing into the head was like, it doesn't actually look like the actor who is actually Sean. I mentioned him a couple times. He plays that character. It's a mask that I bought from Walmart. It's like a bald mask. Okay. It was a Halloween mask. Had a bunch of zombie shit on it, but it had this like hair, this long stringy hair. I just ripped all that hair off because Sean is just naturally, he shaves his head bald, and I just slid it on this mannequin head. And when you cut it together, the edit is so quick, and you add the sound. I have never had anybody tell me like, "Oh, that looks fake." Like, it happens so fast that people are so caught up in the laugh of it all or the obscurity that nobody has said anything. So I think that's probably what I learned. And so now going into the feature film, it's like there are some moments where when we edit quick and we do these things, like we can get away with a cheap effect, but layer the sound in and do the edit, and damn it can pop out.
Love that. Let's continue on the learning side. I went to a showcase recently, and it was a showcase for high school students, and we watched all their films, and they got up front and they were asked questions, and inevitably they asked what was the next step for them, and all of them had one film school or another, except one young lady is a great filmmaker, but she's like, you know what, I'm gonna continue to hang out and stay plugged in and see how far it'll take me. I'm just going to learn everything I can. And then if I think I need to go to film school, I'm going to go to film school. Looking at that, I mean, someone, maybe coming out of high school wanting to make films, what would you tell them? I mean, do you think, film school is the right way for everyone, or is there enough? Like, I know there's obviously a lot going on in Utah. I'm in the Kansas City area. There's a lot going on in here. I mean, do you think you can pick it up, or do you think film school is necessary?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll answer it in two parts. I'm going to say one of my through my personal experience. So, like, for me, I made a few mistakes in high school that made it so that I graduated high school, but I wasn't allowed to walk in the graduation ceremony. And so for me, and then also like I have one parent who's very supportive. I have another parent who is like, why are you doing this? This is the way. Go do this. This is the career path I took. Why aren't you taking that path? And so I wanted like a college degree, and then I wanted it specifically in film, and Utah didn't offer that at the time. Now all the universities have some kind of film school at some point, but at the time you had to go out of state. And I eventually found myself in Florida. And from there, it was like every university has a fucking film school. And that first wife that I was speaking of, she was one of the people who were like, hey, the school that I'm thinking about going to for my business degree, they offer film. You could go to film school. So there I went. I was eventually, when I graduated, I walked. I was very proud because I had not walked in like my high school ceremony. And so I felt like I had achieved something that wasn't like I'd done a few mistakes that put me on a path that I could have just been like just juvenile delinquent. And so I felt like I had achieved something that was outside of that. But when it comes to should you go to film school, I think if you don't, you really need to watch movies of all eras, worldwide movies, and I think you have to have enough passion to study it. Mm-hmm. If all you're watching is the like, and I'm not trying to dog on the Avenger movies, but if that's all you're watching, you're missing out on the key pieces of cinema. And you've got to watch foreign films. You've got to see how, because they make movies that are in a way that's not always necessarily based around the budget. Like, sorry, about making money back, right? Like when you watch the Coen Brothers movies, like they hardly make their money back. Those guys are just doing it because it's the passion they love. I think, be a real film historian for a second and see movies of all different walks in life, and you'll learn a lot. And if you look at the people who didn't go to film school, like if you look at the Christopher Nolans and the Quentin Tarantinos, and even the Kevin Smiths, it's like, but when you listen to those guys, like listen to an interview, they know movies. they're not watching just the same 4 movies all the time. They're cooking through movies all the time. And Tarantino's seen shit I've never seen. So, so I think that there's a lot to be gained from a higher education. But if you're passionate about it, just make sure you're just always watching something fresh and something new. Don't keep circling around the same 4 movies because you thought they were cool. So
I love that. I love that answer.
Movies
that's a great answer. I mean, I think for some people, the university route forces you to be disciplined and get outside your zone of what you're allowing to influence you. So that's probably a great way for some people. And if you're going to do it without that path, you better be self-disciplined to grow outside your, go outside your comfort zone, outside your box, and do everything you can to absorb every piece of information.
Yeah, because if you're interested in playing football, like you would watch football. If you're interested in playing sports, like you would, or baseball, like you would watch the greats of that game. So the same thing within film. But truth be told, I actually didn't make it into the film production program at the University of Central Florida. I applied, but I didn't make it I made it into the cinema studies program, which means we watch movies and analyze them. Funny enough is that, so when you apply for, the application comes around once a year. You apply for it. If you get in, then great. So you apply for it in December. If you get in, cool. Then you start in the fall. Well, my mindset is like, I just want to get on with this. I want to get on with life and stuff like that. So when I didn't get in, I didn't wait for fall to come around and then apply again. I just went right into the cinema studies program. And there's a lot of people who they started the cinema studies program. They went 2-3 semesters in, and then all of a sudden they applied, and now they got into the film production side. So they basically ditched that other degree, the film studies one, and you basically just reset your clock on having to get your film production degree. In the meantime, all the professors are saying what's really interesting is that the kids who are in the cinema studies program, we're not learning about lighting. We're not learning about how the tools work. We're not learning about the glass and lens and all this. We're just watching films. And they said that the movies the better ones come from the cinema studies group than it does from the group that's in the film production. And
so at the core, you've got to be a good storyteller and understand how to tell a story.
You've got to. And if you look at like a movie like Clerks, like production wise, that movie looks like shit. I mean, like, it's not as bad. It doesn't look as bad as Mary Loving It, but it's not cinematically. It's not necessarily the most impressive. And Kevin Smith would probably say this on his own commentary. If you listened, I've listened to the commentary for that and Mallrats and Chasing Amy. I'm sure you have as well. And he'll criticize even Chasing Amy. He's like, oh yeah, every film critic's like, this is a flat shot. But his passion is behind it. And his passion for the writing and the characters and things outbeats the cinematography part of it. And you look at Following by Christopher Nolan, like the passion, you can tell that there's a very passionate person behind that movie, even though it's black and white, $7,000. Rob Rodriguez, El Mariachi, same thing. The passion behind it is clearly showing more so than the like the production value kind of thing. So that's my opinion. But I listen to a lot of podcasts with directors. I read a lot of autobiographies. I read Oliver Stone's. I read George Méliès. I read Herzog's. I'm currently reading a book by Werner Herzog, so I try to study as much as I can. And if at the end of the day my movies still suck, I suck. I went to school and I'm reading. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just. You can't. You're either talented or not, I guess. So.
I mean, you work hard and put your heart and soul in it, and at the end of the day, if you're happy, then that's what matters. But you've turned out some good films. I mean, the ones I've seen, I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it very much.
And I'm excited to see Left 4 Dead. So we're still in production on that, right? So is the are you still funding? Is there still places where people can donate to the film?
Unfortunately, no, not at the moment. So our funding ended a few weeks ago. We ran originally a 30-day campaign, and then we extended it for like 50 to it totaled out at 55 days. We raised just over $8,000. It's the first time I've ever done a crowdfunding for a movie. Married and Loving It, it was just I saved over the years to make that movie. I probably spent about $6,000 on that one. We're really pushing the envelope on this one as far as like how much everything we have to do, and with that limited budget. But so right now, the best way that people can support it is to find us on Instagram. We're Left for Dead Feature Film. I'm ryan.mcdonald.filmmaker on Instagram or TikTok. You can follow BJ Wimpy. It's going to be BJ Wimpy at Instagram or TikTok. Follow along for our journey, and we will continue to push forward. Right now, we don't have another campaign. Now, let's see where we're going to be at, and then the end of the month. We've done one full production day with Left 4 Dead. Starting Monday, we have 4, and then the next couple weekends, we're shooting nights, days. It's going to be kind of grueling. We still have a lot ahead of us. And then, depending on what the budget is, one of the things I've learned with doing the film festivals through Frankencock, Mary Loving It, is you got to play the numbers. And if you don't, if you submit to 2 festivals, you only get into 1 or maybe 0, you're not really doing yourself a service. You got to submit to like 200 festivals and across the world.
Okay.
And then, you'll get 50 of them, and those 50 will give you all the awards and the accolades and everything. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a moment where we're like, hey, we're 5th in goal here. We're like 5 yards out. We just need something to help us cross that finish line to finish the movie. But we'll have the movie, but we might just need whatever else it takes us to get to the finish line on that. So
Wonderful.
Stay tuned.
So encourage everyone to get out there and follow, on Facebook, the film. The content you put out there, I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Thanks.
I love seeing the locations. I love, hopefully there's not another hot pepper challenge involved, because that's some serious stuff there. I mean, I don't know that I could do a hot pepper. With the right motivation maybe, but depending on the pepper. But definitely. So, man, Ryan, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
I'm excited. Left 4 Dead. So that's going to hit the circuit of all the film festivals, so people can see where those. I'm assuming you'll post those out on Facebook once that releases into the different festivals, so they can either, if it's one near them, they can go see or whatnot. Or some festivals stream online? I think I've seen a few that do that.
Yeah, there are some, and more so now after we went through the pandemic. So, but they'll have some kind of like online ticketing option. You have to like either buy a package to watch a series of films, or maybe purchase specifically that one film. What I've done with Convicts and Chocolate that I produced, and then Frankencock, which I produced and directed, is we usually have about a year of like film festival play. So if for the next year, it really is going to be, once we finish the movie, it really is going to be, if you want to see this movie, hopefully it's playing in a city near you. And then unless you're one of our backers, because our backers get a free digital copy of the movie, but we can't share it like publicly to a certain degree. So, and then hopefully we find, I think this premise more so, Married and Loving It was more like, I want to make a movie just so I can die and say I made a movie, a feature film. I didn't necessarily care about the resale value. Left 4 Dead, I think, is more palatable. I didn't make it. I'm not making it because I think it's more palatable. It just happens to be an aspect of it. That's something that I think that could be picked up by a distributor and shown elsewhere. Hopefully it'll someday it's actually out of my hands and somebody else puts it out on DVD and stuff like that. So
that would be awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
I'm excited. I've learned so much, and I've got something I want to dig into now. I've been making some notes here as we go along. So thank you for the time. Yeah. And man, I hope to. Well, I will keep following you and watch his Left 4 Dead progresses along.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
We'll stop.